In this video, I'm going to give you 9 things that you can do to have an amazing UX or user experience on your Squarespace website and to ensure that nobody ever knows that you designed it yourself. It'll just be our little secret. Also, all of these tips will improve functionality and make your website as user-friendly as possible. Make your text large enough and scannable. It's cool to be artsy, but many websites have fonts that are too small for most people, and they're just going to click off your website if they are struggling to read it. Use a font base size that is at least 16 pixels, and I'll show you how to set that later. Avoid or minimize cursive fancy writing that is difficult to read, especially for more than a word or two. No one wants to read a paragraph that looks like it was written as the Declaration of Independence. Write paragraphs no longer than 3 lines. Make the enter button your best friend. People don't read, they skim, and if they see big blocky paragraphs, then they're just going to skip that information because a wall of text is super intimidating. If a paragraph is more than 2 lines, then left align it. When you have to go to a new place at the beginning of each line, then it's frustrating for the reader. Just make it easy. Left align it. Use spacing in your sections. People do not like to read or view things from one side of their computer to the other side, or from the far left to the far right. Reduce the cognitive load by using spacing, meaning space on the sides and in between sections of your content. Use different sections of a web page every time that you're completing a new thought. For example, each section on your homepage design should have a different look and feel. This makes things interesting for your browser and helps to organize your material. Each section should be roughly the same size as a page or a scroll depth. Think of this like a PowerPoint slide presentation that only scrolls down. There will be a similar tone and style between the pages, but the actual content and the topic will be different. Number 2, use a button at the top right of your website. Studies show that the first thing that our eyes are drawn to is the top right of a website. Then our eyes scroll left, and then they scroll to the middle. Number 3, use a search bar in your footer navigation. This is great for a few reasons. Generally, it's helpful for the searcher to be able to find stuff on your website. Also, as you get more and more traffic to your website, you can go into Google Analytics to see what people are searching for on your site. Having that information will allow you to do a few things. It'll help you to get to know your customer more and to answer common questions ahead of time on your site. You can also display content that more aligns with your visitors' goals. Number 4, make your Squarespace website photo quality great even if you're not a pro photographer. If you have professional photography, awesome, use it. If you are like most people that don't, then you're gonna have to get a little creative. Use stock photography smartly. If you're using stock photography from free websites like Pexels or Unsplash, then try to use photos of the same photographer throughout one page. Also think about modifying photos in Canva to make them more interesting. And I'll walk you through how to do this whole thing step by step later on in our design course. Use shapes or frames for photos. Change the color of photos. Use photo overlays or filters like the ones on PixArt or BeFunky to create an animated or unique look. Or opt out of photos altogether and just use animated graphics or icons and shapes. Use clip art or graphics like the ones on Undraw to display art in a consistent way without a single human model. Number 5. Keep your photo image size below 500 kilobytes. Large photo sizes for image blocks or backgrounds are the #1 thing that slows down load speed of a website. Here are the photo basics. In general, a PNG is a larger file size than a JPEG. While you want to make sure that any image uploaded to your Squarespace website is under 500 kilobytes, it also needs to keep its crisp quality. An easy way to do this is to run your photo through tinypng.com. They'll compress the file, and then you can see the sizes of the original and the compressed version. Number 6. Make sure that your image and backgrounds do not clash with your text. It's important to make sure that people can actually read your text and that the backgrounds that you use in the images have a contrasting color. And there's a few ways to accomplish this. Change the image or the text color. Blur the image or background. Change the focal point of an image. And again, more on this later, but it's still good to be thinking about it now. Number 7. Make your opt-in pages simple and direct. An opt-in page or a landing page is a page that has just one goal, usually tied to your primary or secondary goal. It's the finish line. It's the place where someone is going to decide whether to buy your product or service or not. Have one call to action on this page and repeat it multiple times. Your home page might have a button for someone to learn more about you and your company, to view your services in detail, or to look at your portfolio. However, the opt-in page is meant to either make the sale or get someone's contact info. The calls to action should be simple, direct, and clear. You could say, subscribe now, buy now, begin learning for free. These are all types of CTAs. It's okay to change up the wording for these buttons, but the destination should be the same. Number 8. If you have a picture of your product, then use it. If it's a digital product, then create a 3D mockup, and more on this later. Use a picture of a person looking at and or pointing at the opt-in form or button. People look where other people are looking. Number 9. Make sure that your navigation is simple and clear. Now, websites are a great place to express creativity, but your header menu is a bad place to be creative. It's a map, and we generally don't like visually creative maps. In general, only have 5 or fewer navigation items, and don't name your blog Ramblings on Life. Just call it blog. Keep the letters to a minimum. This is important especially because your menu bar gets condensed on mobile. The shorter your words, the better. If you absolutely have to, you can use a drop-down submenu on an item, but even this should be kept very simple. Anything else that is important but is not linked to the primary or secondary goals of your website, that can go in the footer. There are some things that need to go in your footer, like your privacy policy or terms of service, and more on that stuff later. Remember, this is just part of our 4-course series on planning, designing, optimizing, and then launching your website. If you have any questions about user experience or best practices, or even if you disagree, then leave me a comment below and I will respond. Let's put the art back into content marketing. I will see you on the next video.